Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNativeBloodyElbow.com, and I'm here to bring you a review and analysis of last night's UFC on Fox 4 Shogun versus Vera fight card. All in all, it was an excellent outing. The UFC has to be happy. The ratings aren't in yet, but I'm sure the Fox execs are happy as well. Every fight on the main Fox card ended with a spectacular finish, and most of the preliminary card, which aired on Fuel TV, was fun to watch as well. Let's run through the fights one by one, but first remember to subscribe to our MMA Nation YouTube channel so you can get all our videos sent to you automatically in your YouTube account. Let's look at the card. First up, we had flyweights Ulysses Gomez and John Moraga. Everybody was picking Gomez coming into this. They thought his submission skills would make the difference, but that doesn't help you much if you can't get the guy on the ground. And Moraga put a beating on Gomez. He stuffed him his shots so much they could have sent the guy home with a new pillow because this was a beatdown and it was pretty. First round TKO, a lot of elbows to the face, punches, knees, pretty brutal. Beautiful violence from Moraga, and I look forward to seeing more of him. You had featherweights Manny Gamburian and Michihiro Omagawa. Another good scrap. This one went to a decision, but it was three action-packed rounds between two judokas who were more content to brawl and punch and kick their way through this fight. They both hurt each other at several times. There was hardly any grappling. Gamburian initiated a few exchanges. Great fight. Omagawa drops to 1-6 with the loss. Gamburian improves his recent record to 2-4. So that's hopefully Gamburian will get to stay. I mean, presumably Gamburian will get to stay, but hopefully Omagawa will get to stay in the UFC. I'd hate to see him go out after such a good performance, but still 1-6. It's kind of hard to defend keeping a guy on the roster with no better winning record than that. British heavyweights Phil DeFries and Ole Thompson put on probably the only stinker of the card. DeFries did redeem it a bit with a submission win in the second round, but not a pretty fight. This was two big floundering heavyweights slurking around the ring, thundering around, just not top-notch fighting. These are the kind of fighters that were signed up to be on a British card back when they had a lot of British cards, and now that they're doing one British card a year, they got to bring them over here and inflict this on American fans. Up next, we had featherweights Josh Grisby and Ronnie Yaya. Yaya is a one-dimensional fighter with one slick dimension. He is very, very good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Josh Grisby played right into his hands with a lot of leg kicks and not contesting the takedowns like his life depended on it. And Yaya showed what he can do when he gets on top of somebody, and it was a pretty mean north-south choke, and got the tap. And it wasn't even a fully arm in. He choked him out with his lats and one arm around his neck. It was very impressive from Yaya. Up next, Phil Davis and Wagner Prado, and probably the most disappointing fight of the night. Phil Davis gave the old eye poke, and Prado had to the fight was stopped when Prado told the refs he was seeing double. I'm sure the language barrier played some role in that, because if Prado was more savvy, he would have told the refs he could see. Nevertheless, he told him the truth, and he was seeing double, and he couldn't fight, and they had to stop it right away. I'm really, really down on fighters sticking their fingers in other guys' eyes. This is something Josh Koscheck notably does a lot, and Phil Davis, another guy coming out of a wrestling background, and certainly collegiate wrestling is rife with eye pokers, and Phil Davis certainly poked Prado's eyes. They're talking about putting these two guys back together on a upcoming Fuel card. In the final preliminary card, featherweights Cole Miller and Nam Phan. Nam Phan put it to Cole Miller. I actually had Miller winning, but on reviewing the fight on a second viewing, I have to agree with the judges who gave it to Phan. Great boxing on his part, overcoming the huge reach and height advantage Miller had, and an impressive performance by Phan. But he just doesn't have the power to make people back away and respect him, and he's not getting those knockouts and finishes. So he seems doomed to showing off his excellent striking technique and getting a lot of decisions. As for Cole Miller, this is definitely a step back in his career, and he'll have to re-examine and re-evaluate. I don't think he's close to getting cut in the UFC right now, but it's clear he's a ways from contendership in the featherweight division. Now we get to the main card. Mike Swick and DeMarcus Johnson, great fight, two-round Donnybrook. Both guys had big momentum swings, hurt the other guy. A lot of punches and kicks were thrown and landed, and Mike Swick had a touching comeback story, coming back after a 2.5-year layout necessitated by some intestinal maladies that he's hopefully over now. And it was great to see Swick back in the cage and put on a great performance to open the Fox broadcast. And then Joe Lozon and Jamie Varner put on a great fight. Great 3-round fight. Lozon got a triangle choke in the third, but Varner came in and really showed what he could do in a short notice fight. Both guys hurt each other back and forth. A lot of wrestling, a lot of striking. Really good stuff. Varner coming forward with combinations. Lozon using his range. Excellent fight. Really good stuff to have on the Fox broadcast. And then light heavyweights Lyoto Machida and Ryan Bader. Of course, Machida put it to Bader. You could see early on in the fight that Machida had a look on his face like he smelled blood and just started toying with Bader. Bader clearly had no idea how to deal with his Shotokan karate stance and approach and range, and resorted to just lurching in. And he ate a short, sharp right hand to the face that knocked him out at 1 minute 32 of round 2. And Machida got himself the title shot. Clearly the far and away the most impressive victory. Although many would say that the man in the next fight, Mauricio Shogun Hua, put on a more impressive performance by beating Brandon Vera in the 4th round. I mean, in what was a brutal back-and-forth war. A great fight that really, I think, showed a lot of fans maybe watching MMA for the first time on Fox the depth and grit of a really, really outstanding mixed martial arts bout. It was one that I hope the Fox broadcasters were proud to put on their channel, because it was really athleticism and endurance and heart and will at its finest. And Brandon Vera, this is a guy who got a lot of grief when he got this opportunity to headline this Fox card, and he really delivered. He performed excellent and put on a great, very brave fight. He wasn't quite good enough to overcome Shogun. In the end, Shogun showed he had the will and the heart of a champion. And, Vera just didn't quite have it. But it was a great fight and a great card, and we're looking forward to seeing what the ratings were. Hopefully they'll be better than the last UFC on Fox. I'm hoping for somewhere between the ratings of UFC on Fox 3 and UFC on Fox 2. I don't expect it to do as well as the second installment. And hopefully the December installment will be a blockbuster. And there's some talk of that with heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos rumbling around that he'd like to wait to face Alistair Overeem. Of course, that would probably push that card into early next year and won't be on the Fox card. But if they do Jones, let's presume John Jones beats Dan Henderson at UFC 151. They do Jones versus Machida on a Fox card. That could be very fun for the fans. I'll have seen Machida at his best doing what he does, and they'll get to see him against John Jones in a free fight that would normally headline a pay-per-view. I think that would be an excellent solution, since the fans have already paid for a pay-per-view of Jones versus Machida at UFC 144, and it was, although Machida landed some shots and hurt Jones, it was pretty one-sided mauling and chokeout in the 2nd round by Jones. Anyway, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe to our MMA Nation channel, and we'll see you.